Friends, the market is finally starting to feel alive. Bitcoin is flying toward a new all-time high, and altcoins are gradually lining up behind it. What's interesting, Solana and Ethereum are already among the frontrunners, showing solid performance. But the real question is different. Who's next? Which coins can replicate this move after these two mastodons? That's exactly what we'll talk about today. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit like, and let's begin. Friends, before we move on to the market overview and then to promising coins, please note, this video is not financial advice. It reflects only my personal impressions and market view. Always do your own research and invest wisely. Let's look at Ethereum, because a genuinely interesting story is playing out here. Institutions are returning. In just one day, spot Ethereum ETFs saw more than $547 million in inflows. But digging deeper, September's pace dropped sharply. Instead of $3.9 billion in August, we only got $285 million. So the money is coming in, but the question is whether there's enough fuel to keep the market going. And here's a key nuance. Even when institutional inflows slow, the structural trend toward off-exchange accumulation remains. And that's the kind of foundation that usually gives a move its second wind. On-chain signals are mixed. On one hand, the network cooled. Transactions minus 16% over 30 days, fees minus 12%. On the other, more Ethereum is leaving exchanges than entering. That's a clear sign big players don't want to risk centralized platforms and are gearing up to hold long-term. Add the gradual rise in L2 activity, Arbitrum, Base, Optimism, and it becomes clear why a dry spell on mainnet doesn't necessarily equal weakness across the whole ecosystem. Technicals add intrigue. On the weekly chart, we've got a bull flag. If Ethereum breaks $4,300 with volume, the path opens to $4,600, $4,800, and even $5,000 plus. If not, we could churn in the 4,100 to 4,400 range for longer. Forecasts vary. City is modest, $4,300 by end 2025, while Standard Chartered talks about $7,500 if institutional interest keeps strengthening. Right now, the key is not magic targets, but discipline. Watch for level breaks and confirmation by volume. Now the most important part. Ethereum isn't just a coin, it's an entire ecosystem. And when ETH picks up speed, the altcoins on its blockchain often follow. So today I want to highlight a few standout projects that could be next in line. First up, Athena. This isn't just another DeFi protocol, it's a real game changer. Their USDE is a synthetic stablecoin powered by delta-neutral strategies and is currently yielding around 15 to 20%. TVL has already surpassed $14.9 billion, and although there was a pullback after the 2024 peaks, we're seeing growth again now. By the way, the last time I mentioned this token, TVL was 50% lower, and that was just a month ago. That alone shows how strong Athena is. The project solves a real need, and if the trend holds, it could revisit all-time highs. Next, Ondo Finance. It's a bridge between TradFi and blockchain. They tokenize real-world assets, stocks, bonds, ETFs, and bring them into crypto. Partnerships with BlackRock, Citi, and JP Morgan add serious credibility. The real-world assets theme has massive potential right now. What's more, Ondo is steadily becoming one of the key institutional entry points into crypto by offering familiar tools in a new format. And demand for such products, especially in the US, is growing month by month. And another ecosystem favorite, Pendle. This isn't just an altcoin, it's a full market for future yield. You can split an asset into two parts, the principal and the yield it will generate in the future, and trade that yield today. This effectively creates a new class of financial instrument in DeFi. No banks or middlemen, everything on smart contracts. Pendle's TVL grew from $233 million at the start of 2024 to $6.5 billion, over plus 1,500% in a year and a half. Crucially, it's backed by integrations with top protocols rather than empty churn. The market is learning to work with interest rates on-chain. An extra catalyst is the Coinbase listing, opening the door to US liquidity. So you see, the picture is compelling. Ethereum sets the rhythm, and those building new financial infrastructure on top of it follow suit. If ETH breaks its key levels, I wouldn't be surprised to see an explosive move in projects like Athena, Ondo, and Pendle. In my recent videos, I've been curating coins from the Ethereum ecosystem. And right now, I want you to pay maximum attention to this section. Even since my latest uploads, some of these coins have already shown solid growth, and you absolutely don't want to miss the next leg. Why this matters? I only share what I personally consider promising. So, if you want to stay on top of the most important updates, be sure to subscribe. That way, you'll never miss one of my videos. And don't forget the main rule for any market, the DCA strategy. If you've done thorough research and you like at least one of these assets, remember the market is at relatively high levels. Be ready for anything and add coins to your portfolio using DCA, dollar cost averaging. Keep a cool head, invest smart. All right, friends, let's move on. If we've covered Ethereum, it's time to focus on another market monster, Solana. It stopped being just a fast, low-fee network a long time ago. There's a full narrative forming around it that could become one of this bull run's key catalysts. The entire market is watching the ETF angle, and while a US shutdown creates delay risk, insiders still say a Solana ETF decision could land in the coming days. Analysts put approval odds around approximately 90%. Traders aren't waiting. Pullbacks to $190 were instantly treated as discounts. And the key technical level now is $218 to $220. A clean break above opens the road to $240 and beyond. In short, Solana is perched on the edge of a new impulse. But it's just as interesting to look at Solana's ecosystem, where several projects are already making headlines. Pump.fun, essentially a meme coin factory where anyone can launch a token. The twist is that fees and launch revenues flow into pump buybacks. Thanks to this model, the project held up after a sharp drop and has now recovered more than 190% off the lows. Daily buybacks of $1.5 to $2 million create a kind of safety cushion. In meme land, that's a real edge. Yes, the risks are high, but so is the hype potential. Pyth network. Data for the entire blockchain. Over 600 protocols have integrated its oracles, with 1,800 plus price feeds. And now there's collaboration with the US Department of Commerce, which began transmitting macro data like GDP and PCE via Pyth. That's beyond DeFi. It's state-level infrastructure integration. If the trend continues, Pyth could become the base standard for market data in Web3. Ether, all about DPIN and decentralized GPU compute. In a world where AI is devouring resources, Ether offers an alternative to Amazon or Google Cloud. They've already surpassed 1 billion compute hours, and a Q4 2025 upgrade aims to make the network faster and cheaper. Partnerships with universities, a DPIN credit card rollout, and cooperation with iExec show they're working with the real world, not just crypto. So, friends, Solana is in the spotlight thanks to the ETF narrative, but its ecosystem is where the next surprises may come from. Pump.fun fuels hype and the meme economy. Pyth network is cementing itself as the data standard. And Ether addresses compute needs for AI and gaming. These are exactly the kinds of stories that could become the next surprises of this bull run. Right now, the altcoin market is getting genuinely hot. In just one Thursday, cryptocurrencies added about $130 billion to total market cap. Think about it, a wild 24-hour result. It feels like we're truly on the verge of something big. The key is not to miss the moment and not to lose your head. How not to sleep through the wave and not get thrown overboard. Be disciplined. Don't rush to buy everything at once. Choose a sector you understand. DeFi, RWA, infrastructure, AI/DePIN or L2. Dive into research, make a simple plan, and stick to DCA. Gradually build positions, no all-ins, and keep a cool head. That's how you survive both peaks and pullbacks. The market is heating up, opportunities are multiplying by the day, but discipline and consistency matter now more than ever. And that's all for today. Remember, these are just my personal market views, not financial advice. Always do your own research before investing. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, hit like, and stay tuned for new coin reviews. See you soon.